But Layla, remember this?
She blinded me with science!
Yes, I do. This is the machine that you'd have to say provided the distinctive sound of the biggest hits of the 80s.
It's called the Fairlight, and it was invented by an Aussie, Peter Vogel, who joins us now. Peter, man, we didn't even know this was out there, but it had such a big influence on all of our lives.
Well, in retrospect it did. Of course, when I started off doing this, I had no idea what it was going to lead to. But it certainly ended up shaping the sound of the 80s. So
before the Fairlight there was the Moog, which was a bit
Yes.
trickier, wasn't it? But that was what sort of inspired you, didn't it?
Yeah, well, around the late 60s, those synthesizers with all the knobs and wires were coming out, and electronic music was starting to be heard. For the first time, there was the album that captured my imagination was something called Switched On Bach by a guy called Walter Carlos, who then became Wendy Carlos, but that's another story.
Oh, wow. The 80s were wild.
It was. And I was really fascinated by the idea that you could use electronics to create music. And my passion since I was a kid had been electronics and computers in particular. So I sort of wasted my youth building computers in the days that was just unheard of. And then a friend of mine from school who was interested in music said, why don't we get together and build a synthesizer that's computer controlled.
And Peter, this was 10 years before the PC, started to enter our lives as well. You were way, way ahead of the game as far as all of that was concerned. And the very first one of these was bought by Stevie Wonder, and you delivered that to him by hand.
Yes, I did, and it was a bit of a funny story because having spent my entire life up to that date, if I ever did watch TV, it was from the back, not from the front. So I had no idea about popular culture whatsoever. And we got this order from America from some guy called Mr. Morris, and I thought, okay, I'll deliver this machine to him. And so we were then just building them one at a time, and it was like a four-man company. So I was pretty much everything. And I put it on a plane and flew over to Los Angeles and then delivered it to this guy who was really, really nice, and showed him how to work it. It used this thing called a light pen, which is a pointing device, which nowadays you just point to the screen, but in those days we're talking about 10 years before the mouse was invented. So we had this thing which allowed you to actually draw things on the screen, so you could sculpt the sounds and make your own waveforms like that.
That's extraordinary when you think about the time.
And it was something that you can do now on any cheap PC, but in those days it was really revolutionary. And we joined up with another engineer, Sydney engineer called Tony First, who developed that sort of technology, and we adapted it for this use.
Peter Gabriel used it, of course. So many artists did from the 80s. Michael Jackson. Can you show us a little blast? Give us a little tour of it, because it still, Layla, it still looks cool, doesn't it?
I think so.
This instrument is the 30th anniversary reissue of the original. This is not one of the originals, so there's still about 100 of them around the world being used. But we're now building these and selling them toward us. So.
And I read that music nerds are bursting into tears when they see it, that they put so much store in what it was able to create. Yes,
absolutely. We exhibited this at a trade show last year, and people would come by and they'd say, oh, it's a CMI. It's, I remember when I went into the studio in 1984 with Herbie Hancock and I did this, that and the other.
So good.
Some of the big innovation of this was that you could actually take sounds of real instruments and play them on the keyboard. So you could do something like this, take an orchestral sound and put it into a piece of music like this. Or another one that you probably recognise is from The Art of Noise. They came up with this very, very simple piece, but was iconic sounds in the 80s. And this sound here is actually a woman's voice that we recorded in our little garage studio in Rushcutters Bay around 1980, which has been used on thousands and thousands of records
this is
now.
Extraordinary. Did you have any idea about this?
Absolutely no idea.
And it was the first time that you could press a key on the keyboard and have something like this come out.
Science! Science!
Which Thomas Dolby produced the hit song.
She blinded me with science! Science! Science!
And these are the actual samples that Thomas Dolby made himself by recording an English scientist.
It would be a bit surprising if the girl blinded me with science.
Pete, do you own the rights to any sounds?
No, we were never involved in making the sounds. I just produced the instrument. We sent it out to our customers, and they went to town producing their own sounds.
So what I think we're asking is, are you an eccentric billionaire who likes morning television? You shouldn't you be on a yacht somewhere?
Unlike my namesake who made the bread, something that I haven't been very... That part of it has evaded me so far. We did this at a time, it was probably 10 or 20 years too early. And when we were making this, even things like this keyboard here, which is just like you go into any computer shop these days, you go into Kmart, you can buy these for $10. When we did this, you couldn't buy such a keyboard, so we had to actually make it. And like this one, this is a welded aluminium case. All these keys are individually soldered in and engraved key tops. So to make a keyboard like this in 1980 would have cost us probably $200 or $300. And
in fact, these were very expensive units in the time, weren't they?
They were typically $100,000.
Wow, back when 100,000 was 100,000.
That was a time that you could buy a really good house in Sydney for $100,000.
Yeah.
So when you delivered it to Los Angeles, did you come across Stevie Wonder, or did you deal mostly with his producers?
Oh no, absolutely. I delivered it to him in person. In fact, when he came out to Australia in 2011 to launch the Star in Sydney, and I contacted him then and said, you know, we've got a new remake of this product. Would you like to play with it? And he said, sure. So we ended up in his hotel room down at the Star, and he went through it. And he made a very interesting observation. He said, Pete, you know, since you built this in 1980, this was really revolutionary. There's been a lot of evolution of technology and music since then, and every step has been a backwards one for me. It's made it more difficult as a musician to use it.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I feel that about a lot of technologies, but you've got a brilliant mind, haven't you, Peter? You've applied yourself to hospital equipment. You invented the electronic program guide, which Channel 9 tried to stop you from utilising. Is that right?
Well, that was another one of my monumental failures, in that I came up with this brilliant idea and a brilliant technology for automated recording, and it ended up getting me sued, and went right through to the High Court, where I eventually won against Channel 9. But I've moved on back to the music industry, and I've taken on board what Stevie said about instruments no longer being really musician friendly, because people are trying to play music on iPads and on touch screens and so on. And not only is it no good for a blind musician to use, but if a blind musician can't use it, then it's really no good for any musician, because you shouldn't have to look at a screen to play music.
Yeah.
So that sort of got me thinking, and that's what I've been doing the last couple of years, is developing instruments that are much more musician friendly.
Bringing the tactile nature of it back too.
Although I must admit, we do have an iPhone app which does the whole CMI thing
that's cool.
for a few dollars.
I was going to say that you really started sampling, and now music is all about sampling. And now people can't quite believe, in the older generation, that you go to a concert and it's one person there with a computer. That's who kids are going to see these days, and it's really all your fault.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to atone for that by bringing out... We've got some new instruments in development now, which will be on the market next year, which try and get around those limitations.
And you can buy this baby now too, can't you?
Yeah, we're selling this one. We hand build these one at a time. It's still made using the original technology. This is a custom wood spray painted case. This is welded steel. These are handmade machine pieces, and as a result, we have to sell them for $25,000. But $25,000 in today's terms is still a fraction of what it used to be.
I keep just wanting to hit a key, any key.
Oh, that's the Michael Jackson one.
Thriller.
What? Yeah. Owner of a Lonely Heart, that one was. That one. Yeah, that's the Thriller one.
Oh, that's
We still love that one. I want to shake your hand. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations,
Outstanding
Peter.
story.
Wonderful stuff. Great to see it all becoming new again. Yeah.
Thanks for that. We look forward to seeing what you do next.